Boom shakalaka, Bitcoin is trading at its production cost right now. The Sharpe Ratio just crashed to levels that marked every major bottom of the last decade, and Bitcoin versus gold just hit the exact same 14-month symmetry we saw before explosive bull runs. But here's the twist. Some people think we're only 30% through the bear market. You have to ask yourself, is this a generational opportunity or the calm before another dip? Let's talk about it. Stay tuned. What's up everyone, Randall here from Crypto Love. Today's video, some absolutely historic charts for Bitcoin touching levels we have only seen before massive moves. But there's also the potential for major downside. Before we get into it, like the video, join us on Twitter with Crypto Love, and of course subscribe to the OG Bitcoin and Crypto YouTube channel, making videos longer than pretty much everybody else and still messing up every video. But let's get into it today. We'll start with the bad stuff and then, leave you with the good stuff at the end. So to begin with, Bitcoin bear pennant forming. Just a conditional setup for now, but downside confirmation would project $38,000. So you can see this measurement right here from roughly $96,000 all the way down to the $60-ish thousand wick down there. We have a pennant forming right here. The continuation of that would put price roughly $38,000. That's not good. We also have other people saying, hey, you know what? We're in bear market territory, have not hit the bottom. We're 30% through, but definitely not the bottom. Strap in, but don't get too excited. The bear market has a ways to go. Volatility is shriveling up again after the move to $60,000. Another standard trait of the bear market. Time and price-wise, it looks like we're about 30% through the bear market. That's a pretty common thought currently, but as usual, expect some strange nuances or events to keep people on their toes. The Ulcer Index gives us these relative dates for our current metric positions. April 2014, May 2018, and January 2022. Those are times when we were similarly at where we are right now. It's got a decent track record of catching the bottom after a cross, but there's still a long stretch before that happens. And take a look, the bottom does go down significantly, sometimes almost a 50% price cut before we reach that bottom. So with all that bad news, you have to ask yourself, where are we? Well, if we take a look at the Bitcoin realized market cap year over year, each time the realized market cap goes below zero, it signals a bottom. We are still way up here above zero in the green, have not hit that 0 to red area that would indicate a bottom. So a lot of people saying bear market caution, could be a lot further down to go before recovery. But when you look at things right now, Bitcoin is trading right at its production cost, not the top of the band, but actually the bottom of the band production cost for Bitcoin. Now take a look. Each of these green arrows on the purple band is when Bitcoin broke through the bottom of that purple band. Very little time in its entire history, in its life, has it spent actually below that band. If we break it, it could be a generational buying opportunity for everyone who's looking to accumulate Bitcoin. Because take a look at this. This was the longest period Bitcoin ever spent below its band back here in 2016, 2017. That was before an absolutely historic bull run. And even during the COVID bottom, it was just a flash crash wick that Bitcoin went below there. Also, if we take a look not only at Bitcoin at breaking through the production cost, but also Bitcoin priced in gold. That is this graph right here. And you can see it is forming, touching historic low levels for Bitcoin priced in gold. This metric and the one before have both signaled massive rallies for Bitcoin. And you have to ask yourself, like veteran trader Peter Brandt asks right here, is this the time to buy the banana and then off to 250,000 plus by late 2029? Do you have the discipline, the patience to wait 3 years for a 2 to 3 to 5 plus X on Bitcoin investment? Because that's the way that things are looking when you take a look at this power law type of graph. So that being said, have we hit the bottom. This is important because a lot of people don't want to put in any more money until we hit the bottom. And some people, like myself, don't want to sell until we hit the bottom. I buy at the top, I sell at the bottom, rinse and repeat. Before long, I'm going to be completely broke. But joking aside, the bottom is when a lot of people want to buy, but they don't want to buy and then have price tank lower. So are we at the bottom? Well, here's two very interesting charts, both of them simultaneously saying, yes, right now we are at the bottom. The first one, Bitcoin usually bottoms 23 months after a new all-time high. Not the absolute all-time high, but just a new all-time high. Now, if we take a look, this all-time high from back here hit right there, and then 21 bars later was the bottom. This all-time high hit right there, 23 bars later, the bottom. Well, this all-time high hit right there, and guess what? We're at 23 bars right now, suggesting bottom territory based on months to all-time high to new bear market bottom. Now, not only that, but the Bitcoin gold bottomed 14 months after we had the top right here. You can see this happening once and again. Bitcoin gold bear market has been ongoing for 14 months right now. Does this mean the bottom has happened? And after the bottom happens, guess what? Bitcoin takes off. So all of these signals suggesting that we have hit at least the time destination of the bottom. And so far this cycle, Pi cycle top didn't work. A lot of charts didn't work. But the one chart, people think time-based 4-year, no, that didn't work either. So anyways, people are confused this cycle, but there is indications that it could be the bottom. Objectively, taking a look at percent supply in profit, this is a fantastic time to buy Bitcoin or start accumulating Bitcoin. More specifically, 55% of the Bitcoin supply is sitting in profit. That's about half. Levels like these are reserved for bear market bottoms or deep corrections. You can see the percent supply in profit right here in orange. And generally, it doesn't go low for too long. Right now, we are at about the lowest it has been in a very long time, a few months. But based on this trend line, we are in the territory that has marked bottoms. Now, that being said, price can continue to drop and more of the supply can fall into loss. But listen well. Buying now for a 4-year plus horizon will likely reap rewards. Waiting for potentially lower prices and trying to time that bottom comes down to each of our own risk tolerances. If you wait, yeah, you may nail it, but there's probably a better chance you'll miss it because when the sky is falling, it's very, very difficult to buy. We also have the Bitcoin Sharpe Ratio, phenomenal chart right now. It shows the Sharpe Ratio for Bitcoin in the short term. The key takeaway, the Sharpe Ratio has dropped to negative 38.38, which historically has marked low risk accumulation zones. You can see all of these lining up with bottoms in Bitcoin price. The red circles highlight every time the Sharpe Ratio dipped to similar deeply negative levels, early 2015, early 2019, late 2022, and each of those moments preceded major bull runs. The pattern is clear. Every time the short-term Sharpe Ratio crashes this low, it signals that Bitcoin has been underperforming on a risk-adjusted basis so severely that it represents a historically attractive entry point. The arrows on the chart show the subsequent price rallies that followed each of these zones. Given the recent crash of Bitcoin has put the price of Bitcoin down substantially versus gold, does that mean that these markets are out of balance and that there's an opportunity between the two? The Sharpe Ratio provides that opportunity in the chart. The implication of this chart is actually super bullish, as every time the Sharpe Ratio has hit this level, it preceded a strong bull market. Could be interesting. This is like buying Bitcoin at $15,000 before it went up to $120,000, or at $3,000 before it went up to $70,000, or at $200 before it went up to $20,000. Based on the Sharpe Ratio, we are at that same exact point right now. Also taking a look at the short-term holder SOPR Z-score. Dollar cost averaging is difficult to beat. But another strategy that makes owning Bitcoin easier is to only buy chunks when short-term holders are realizing losses around one standard deviation to the downside, which is all of these territories which marked significant bottoms for Bitcoin, at least local bottoms right now, marking a more significant bottom than just a temporary local bottom. So all of these could be times to buy Bitcoin. And yes, while Bitcoin may go to the downside, Well, there's the possibility we saw this before back in 2020. I'm not sure if you guys remember this. There was a little blip right here, sideways price movement, a little blip, and then sideways consolidation until about October, and then all of a sudden, things took off dramatically. Look at how similarly this chart is following. Could we have the same type of takeoff within the next few months? Statistically, the answer is yes. Timothy Peterson saying here that 50% of the past 24 months have been positive. This implies an 88% chance that Bitcoin will be higher 10 months from now. This is based on the percent of trailing 24 months positive. The average return is exponential 60 minus 1, 82%, or $122,000. So data going back to 2011 suggests that in 10 months from now, Bitcoin price will be higher, not only just higher, but pretty much close to double where it is right now. So that's all for this episode. If you did enjoy it, like the video, subscribe to the OG Bitcoin and Crypto YouTube channel, and check out some of our shorts. I'll catch you later. Have a great one. Love you. Peace.
Boom. Shakalaka.
If you don't think Bitcoin's going to $1 million a coin and then $10 million a coin, you're already a loser.
From now on, if you don't own Bitcoin, you're a moron.